It's Jessica, and I'm here today with one of my newest friends, Lily. How are you feeling today? Tell me what's going on.
I'm feeling good. I woke up at a good time. I got a little bit more than 4 hours of sleep, and that's always good for me.
100%.
I had a good breakfast with my mom. I'm feeling good, and I'm here with you.
Love that. Thank you so much for coming today, by the way. So excited. So I want to go way back to when you first started in your career in acting. Not only did you start in acting, but you also did modeling and other stuff, like you did commercials. So tell me, like, what really inspired you to start in this field?
I think my parents were the first ones that kind of noticed that I was very artistic, and they were just like, "Yeah, this girl's got a lot of energy. Let me find somewhere to put you." And it was very much like, "Okay, what do we have?" And back then, before we moved to the United States, it was like there were like little etiquette classes, modeling classes, like little pageants for like 5-year-olds and stuff like that. So I did little things like that. And once we were settled here and I learned English, it was just like modeling. So modeling and like fashion shows and stuff, just anything that would feel artistic and was a sense of performance. And in my first modeling school, which was called like John Casablancas, which I don't even know if they're still in business. I
think they are, actually.
Hopefully. I loved being there. And that's where I took my first like commercial, improv, and like acting class. And I was like, oh, this is it. I was like, I'm going to switch careers. Because I literally told my mom, I was like, hey, I'm not going to make it to 5'10". I'm probably not going to be able to hold that career out for more than 30. So acting it is. It's just like, okay, whatever you say.
Oh my gosh, I love that though. Like you immediately knew. And as a child at that age, like knowing what you want to do, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's so cool. And I love that for you.
Thank you.
So like, I want to know, because again, since you started very young, I saw you were on Telemundo, you did stuff with Univision, and I need to like fact check you right now. Okay. Were you actually on Sábado Gigante?
Yes. Yes, I was for their 50th anniversary.
Oh, that is so. I literally told her this before we started. You are part of history. Oh my god, that is crazy.
I look back at it now and I'm like, whoa, I was there.
You did that. I love that. Oh my god, you know what that means? Like that is so big, because like to the Latino community, Sábado Gigante, like hello, we all know what that is.
It was everything at that time. I was like, oh my god, this is my first big job.
Oh my god,
it really did feel like my first big job.
Oh, and I was gonna ask you that, like being that like you got to that moment, what was that feeling inside of you, like walking into your first set ever? Like, what is that like?
I think I had some commercial sets before that, but I think it was just really exciting because it was, I kind of did commercials and all these things like to gain experience, to learn. I didn't know anything. My parents, it was a learning curve for them as well, but it wasn't like, I wasn't psyched to do a KFC commercial, you know what I mean? So it was like the first time I was like, oh, I watched this show, like we watched this, like maybe like my parents are gonna see me, I'm gonna see myself on TV for real for the first time. Sometimes I wouldn't be able to catch my commercials or anything like that, or I was like an extra or whatever. So that moment was very much like, oh, I'm not doing a commercial, this is a sketch and this is this. So it was very, all around it was very exciting.
I love that. That's crazy, because like, like you're in a field where it's like, there's just like starting to be a lot of Latinos and all this stuff. So what does that mean for you to see like how far you've grown to now being able to represent, like in, like for instance, in a Disney film, like being a Latina on there? Like that's insane to me. I love that.
Thank you. It's I think it's always an honor. I think it's a small contribution to like trying to progress things for our community more and more and more. I think I'm a very small part of it. I can't represent all Latinos, obviously, but again, that's what I mean by a small part. One of us contributing is like one more person like representing overall. There's so many of us with so many different stories.
That is the craziest thing ever. Do you have any like experience that has stuck with you, like starting, like, because again, you not only did you do commercial stuff like that, you were also on Nickelodeon. Was it Bella and the Bulldogs, right?
Yeah.
Tell me about that. Like, I'm assuming that was like one of your biggest like projects at that age.
For sure.
So what was that like, and your reaction to knowing like, dang, like I made it, I'm on Nickelodeon? Because what the heck? I feel like any kid at that age was like, oh my god, if I'm on Disney, you pretend to do the little Disney thing, or Nickelodeon. That's insane.
I mean, that was a direct like dream of mine. I grew up watching Cartoon Network and Disney and Nickelodeon, and now to sit here and say I've worked for all three, it's like whoa, like, you know, like 10-year-old Lily would be like, I didn't know I would grow up to be this cool. But I think at the time, it was like, I mean, how it all started was crazy. It was an open call. It was one of those big open calls that they do here.
Okay.
And I had been scammed before. Because we talked about this on camera, and because Miami be Miami, and so I didn't want to go. I didn't find a purpose in it. I was like, they're just gonna like charge us $400 for something I'm not gonna be able to use, because it was one of those that was like, okay, everybody and their mother is going, like, this is just not. My mom, shout out to my mom and my grandma were the ones that were like, you never know, like, you know, if you go, you did a scene that was really fun, somebody new got to see you, you had the experience, and if they come out with a $400, we did, you know, but if they don't, you know, we're risking it being the real thing. So I was like, oh, okay, you're the adult. And so that's where they originally found me, and I was the one chosen from like thousands of kids, which was also not something that and when they called, I still thought it was a scam.
You're lying.
It was a full, long story short, it was flying us out for 2 weeks to LA to work with one of the best like comedy workshops or comedy schools that there are called Groundlings. And we did 2 weeks improv and then did a showcase for all of the Nickelodeon and Viacom executives at the time. And so that's kind of where everything started, and my auditioning process with Nickelodeon started. So to even be chosen for a pilot back then was like, where am I right now? Like, I'm happy, because I'm such a forgetful person except for lines, thankfully, that I still am very happy that I remember all of the kind of key moments of like receiving the audition for the first time, what the audition process was like, all the memories, and like getting the call that I got picked up and was going to be a show for real. Like, all of it was very like, what is happening right now? Because it's not something I thought at all that I was going to do at that age, because I live here. And no one had, or that I knew of, had that story of going from point A to point B like that. And it was
the audition took place here, or was it over there? It was here.
Yeah, they were randomly looking for new talent, and they searched Miami for some reason.
They found their star.
But keep coming to Miami. I think there's a lot of talent here, and hopefully more people can get a story like that.
Awesome. I hope so too. And I want to know, like, what was that process like for you, like, at a young age? Like, how was that, like, school life and, like, work life type of thing? How was that?
When I started working, like, a lot more, just full-time, I started being homeschooled. So I think it was a lot easier scheduling in that sense. And, like, my mom and grandma, especially my grandma, shout out to my abuela, was, like, so on it. Like, she has a teacher's heart, really. But so I had the best circumstances, really, to kind of be able to balance things. I think my parents were exceptional at trying to make this as kid-appropriate as possible, so that I felt I wasn't overwhelmed with school, and I was also dedicating time and discipline to the job that I chose for myself that I really like. So it was good, and I think they balanced out well me having a social life and not just, you know, locked up in the house all day doing school or whatever. Like, my social life was always outside of school anyway.
Out of all the projects you've worked up till now, which has been, like, the one that has stuck with you the most? Because, again, not only were you on Nickelodeon, you were also, I saw that you were in a film with Adam Sandler. Was that true?
Yes.
Tell us, how was that?
It was so good! It was so much fun. It was a Halloween movie, so it made it even more so fun. We were in a cornfield in the middle of nowhere, Salem, shooting that from like 10 a.m. to 2, 3 a.m. every day. And but it was very, very fun. Really? It to this day is one of the best experiences I've had on a set. Everybody was so lovely.
Really?
Adam Sandler's so fun to work with.
Oh no, I bet.
And very just humble and very funny, and shares his comedy or his lively nature with everybody. Like even my mom, like she was just, you know, chilling there, like parents just chilling there in the back, or like, you know, whatever, and he would, you know, pass by and, you know, laugh with her too, you know what I mean? But it was a great experience, and also because it was a cameo of a lot of Disney and Nick kids.
I did notice that.
So we all knew each other, so it was very fun.
That's so cool, and I love that he just seems like the type of person that is so like sweet and like makes everyone feel so welcome.
It's very personable.
Yes, 100%. And I want to know, like, did he give you any advice? Because obviously everybody knows Adam Sandler. Did he give you any advice that you for sure will take with you in your career throughout?
I think there was a joy to watching him and other people in his crew work, because I think when you're so young and you're still depending on so many people to choose you, to bring you in, to bring you into their crew, it's so nice to see people that are doing this, you know, obviously with a huge budget, but, but that comes for after a very long time. People that genuinely just enjoy their craft, like this far into their career, and they just do it for fun. And sometimes it's not about, you know, I'm going to do this to win an Oscar. I'm going to do this to be the best movie of the year. It's just, we wrote this and like super fun amongst buddies. We think there's going to be people that have the same joy watching this as us. Let's create this and have everybody feel like family and have a good time. Because everybody on set felt very, even, you know, background, which I always appreciate a lot when background feels included and respected, because their work is just as valuable.
100%.
You know, he was just joking around with them too, and it's just like, just bear with me, you know, I promise I have this memorized, but like kind of, you know, we're just here to have a good time. Everybody's being paid okay. Everybody, we're gonna get food at 7. Like, you know, it's nice to see that and aspire to kind of maybe have your sets be like that.
Right. That's cool. And now I want to, like, you know, diverge a little bit into now present time. You were in Inside Out too. You played Val, the role of Val, and it's nominated for an Oscar. And I want to know, what was your like reaction in knowing like you were gonna be a part of such like a big film that has such a meaningful message?
Yeah, I don't think I knew exactly what I was auditioning for. I just knew the character description, kind of the general, enough information for me to do the casting to the best of my ability.
Right.
And I sent that out, and I completely forgot about it. And I think it wasn't maybe a month or 2 months. I genuinely forgot about it. Where I get the call, and it's like, well, you got chosen for It's Inside Out too. And I was like, I didn't even know this was being made. Like, I was like, oh, okay.
The way my heart would have stopped right there, I would have been like, there's no way.
I didn't, because like it was one of those things that, and I keep saying this, I think in a lot of interviews too, where it's like, I'm definitely a person to have a dream board or to put stuff together, to have a Pinterest board and just go ham, like trying to make it cool and like think of, okay, let me go far, like put the standards all the way to here and see how far I can get. Blockbuster Oscar-nominated Pixar movie was really hyper-specific and never in any of my dream board. I think it was really one of those moments where it's like, okay, life, show me how good I can get. I was like, wow, okay, it's like that. But very, very excited. It was one of those giddy moments where I felt every time I get a call like that, I feel just like how I felt getting the call about Belle and the Bulldogs. It's like, you always remember the call in the moment, I think.
That is the craziest thing ever. Like, just... Because the first one, again, the first one is amazing. It gets you. It touches your heart.
I cry every time over Bing Bong.
Oh my God! Stop saying.
like my heart drops to my stomach whenever I see Bing Bong mentioned, even on the IMDb for the first film. I can't. I'm sorry.
I can't. It's and like, I just want to know, like, what does it mean to you again to be part of such a movie that like it's. Like the emotions like we go through like as human beings, you know, and that eventually kids will like learn about. What does that mean to you to like be able to send that message within, you know, the team of the film?
I think it's like one of the greatest joys, at least for me, like as an artist, that you can have is to know that the art you create or participate in, it once you have created and it's no longer yours and it's out in the public, that people can make of that something comforting and something that is necessary for them and something that creates a good impact in their life. I think that's sometimes the most I can hope for.
Right.
Because the effect is always beyond me once the art is released, right? And so kind of knowing that you participate in something like that I personally feel is incredibly necessary, especially in today's day and age. I think there's a lot of really misguided, lost the plot-esque type of moments in society talking about really repressing emotions without really knowing what that means and what those consequences are going to look like in the long term. And telling especially kids to stunt their growth in that way. I think it came at a right time to help kids especially understand 100%. There are going to be people that are going to want this information, I think, or this idea to escape you, to bar it from you, or to make you feel bad about it when it's quite literally the most human thing you could experience. And it's something you are not ever going to be without. The more you fight against it, the more you reject it for what it is, the more I think unhappiness you're going to invite into your life. And I think that's why a lot of adults really like felt very emotional watching it too, because there's still so many people invalidating their experience and telling them to not, you know, you can't cry, you can't do this. I'm like, that's the stupidest thing. I'm so sorry. To me, it's the most like it's the most enraging thing to see humans, I think, kind of bar themselves or like prevent others from experiencing what makes us human.
Right.
We're the only ones in this planet to have emotions or consciousness in the way that we have it. And it's crazy for us to suppress it and not have it be a part of our society. That's not a thing. So
no, because I live for all the videos because it went viral, like people crying, like tears, like faces were red, tears, sobbing, watching the film.
Yeah.
Like I just think that's crazy how a movie, even like a Disney movie, a Pixar movie, whatever it is, like it's just like just being able to like touch you as a, because like they tell you what it is, like what life is like, and I think that's just so beautiful because like we all experience it, and at the end of the day, like you might think like it's just you going through, but it's all of us, and I think that's
it's every single person.
It's every single person,
like you know, like my mom says, like pasa un día en la casa de otra persona, and your life has changed the way you
100%.
view, and that's why I love what this is. Like you change so sometimes involuntarily just by spending time with other people and seeing their home life, seeing their work life, seeing how they view the world, just speaking to other people unlike you and away from you. And it's an experience that I think makes us what we are.
Right.
And I think as an artist, it is our job to actively fight against, you know, the forces, let's say, that are kind of preventing us from having those experiences together.
I love this movie, and I told you this, and I tell everybody this is one of my favorite Pixar movies aside from Toy Story, because I'm a big Toy Story fan. Yeah. But I do want to know, what was that like process, like, or creative process, or day to day, like at Pixar, like working with a team? It must have been so fun.
It was so exciting. I got to go to the actual Pixar campus in, oh my goodness, name is escaping me. North California, not exactly in Oakland, but close to it. And apart from it being a beautiful city and the weather was so nice, it was like I love walking into a place where you know people love going to work.
100%.
Like it is just so carefully crafted and set for these people, and it's so artist friendly, and they bring their kids along, and they have great food, and it's just it's so good. And Steve Jobs also did an incredible job in the Steve Jobs building, and making it what it is. And I think it's just one of those places that really promotes creativity and unity and like just collaborative nature really between everybody. And it's so healthy. It's such a nice environment. Everybody loves what they're doing. They put everything into the work that they do. They're happy to show you around, and like, you know, there's a tennis court, there was a bakery, they have everything there, girl. And so I loved being there. I was like, when they would ask me like, oh, do you want to stay for lunch? I'm like, yeah. Can I stay? I love it. Shout out to everybody at Pixar. Seriously, I miss them every single time that I got to go. It was so fun.
No, the way you're describing it sounds like it was super fun.
I was like, I'm gonna have to learn how to draw. I'm gonna work here. What do I gotta do to have a permanent gig?
I love that. And okay, let's talk about your character, which was Val. Yeah. Did you like in a way like add something from yourself, like something personal to like give that touch to Val, or how was that when you
always? I think there's always me in every character that I do. I think that's the most authentic way. Yes. I think every character is a mix of you and your kind of chemistry and your lived experiences, and that have informed kind of your empathy, and that lets you tap into this person. But definitely, you know, a lot of moments like moments of excitement and laughter, and all of that is really my own laugh and like my own giddiness. At the end of the day, the emotions I put into her come from a very real place, even if it's not from the same circumstances. So I think I put myself in that, and I think once we kind of worked out that she's not, which is what everybody kind of really talks about, that everyone expects her to be the mean girl or the antagonist in the film. And it's like, well, the antagonist is us, really, kind of battling with ourselves. So I think...
That's true. Now that you put it that way, yeah, it is true.
Yeah, you know, it's not an external force. A lot of times, like, we find antagonists in things around us when really it's our mind working against us, making things look different than they are. But I think Val, like, it was such, I want to say, to me at least, an homage to, like, the big sisters you would have in, like, elementary or middle or high school. There was always that one older, cool girl that sometimes you would run into, or you just wanted to be like her, but there was no energy from her that ever made you feel like, she's
right.
You know, there's no jealousy. There's just, she was always so
she was like
cool
that, again,
and inviting.
Sister,
and it's like a lot of times I feel like we don't really have a cheer for them. So I feel like she was a little bit of an homage to that, to those girls everywhere around the world.
Yeah, shout out.
So and I hope I've become that in a way towards somebody else. So I think a little bit of that was put into Val.
I love that. That's insane because she was such a cool character. And again, like how you're saying, the big sister, that's definitely the vibe I was getting from the film with her and Riley. And I just want to know, like, again, like the emotions and stuff like that. Like, did it impact you personally, like these emotions generally?
I think what most impacted me was, I think more so the audience's reception of it. I'm someone that I completely recognize. I care a lot about people, and I think I always put so much into wanting better for society overall. So I think having a message like that be out there and to see people receiving it, to see people say, I needed this. I have no one else to tell me this around me. So having this film be able to fill that hole or answer that question or fill that gap, like, it was almost emotional because it's just like, oh my, yes, like, you know, I got into your home somehow. We got right into your heart. So it was good. I feel like there are so many people that we don't realize we have things in our day-to-day that sometimes we don't even recognize, that we fail to be grateful for sometimes, that other people are in scarcity of and don't have, which sometimes is just emotional support, or parents that, like, really validate how you're feeling, or that actually acknowledge that anxiety is a thing. So, you know, kind of having that or being able to be that indirectly for somebody meant the world, just because I recognize my point of privilege where I grew up with parents that made me feel always very validated. Any question that I had was answered. Any no that I got had an explanation behind it. And I never felt out of place at home. And that's not everybody's case. So to kind of provide that even a little bit for other people, I think that was what hit me the hardest.
Like, emotions-wise, in Val's head. Like, describe it to me. Obviously, we're going to see, like, all of the emotions. We're seeing joy, all of these. But who do you think would be the one, like, in charge? Because you know how in Riley's, like, in the first film, it was more, like, joy. And then we saw sadness to come in and kind of, like, barge in. So, like, what would you say, like, in Val's mind? What would it be? Like, the one in charge? Well, not in charge because, you know, we have different emotions. But, like, one that you think, like, will resonate with her, like, that she is.
I think she's pretty balanced, but I think there is a nice camaraderie and, like, work between her joy and her anxiety. The big reason why Val shows up 6 a.m. every morning to practice and put in that work is because her anxiety is pushing that. Because she wants to be the best. Now it's a growth where it's like now she's, I think, more settled into her talent and her skill and her leadership skills, and she's able to do that much better because she has that balance and is more sure of herself and what she can do. But that had to start off somewhere, and I think Val, very closely to me, was an over-perfectionist, and perfectionism comes from fear.
It does, yes.
So I think for a while it was probably maybe anxiety and fear working until maybe joy or others kind of step in to find a balance between and say, like, hey, we can work hard, we can push ourselves, we can bring anxiety in to maybe motivate you a little bit, but let's have some balance here so that you don't feel, you know, in panic mode all the time because you're never good enough. So that was Val's situation then.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. And again, like, emotions wise, if you can create any emotion, well, not, you know, like, to come into the minds of the Inside Out universe.
Yes.
Which one would you add from, like, obviously not the ones that are already made, but, like, which one would you add that's not there?
I think there are some, I don't know if I would say it's really an emotion, but a state of being, or maybe I think maybe it's a collection of emotions. So maybe if we're gonna be like, okay, let's put a team and which ones are mainly gonna work together, I think I would push empathy on this one.
Oh, that's cute.
Yeah,
I like that one.
And I think like more so, and now I've gotten to kind of put it into words as I've been now coaching for acting and for voice acting for both adults and kids. I'm like, the best I could tell you how to psychologically work as an actor is it's just radical empathy.
Right.
Because to do a character, you can't judge a drop of them. You have 100%. To be them.
Right.
So, you have to kind of work with not judging them and fully loving them. And there's a sense of all acceptance that you have to do. And if you're someone that's incredibly judgmental, accepts nothing that isn't like you,
right.
or has no space to consider others, even if it's not your ideal actions or thought process or whatever, you can't act, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I see what you mean. And the film, again, like how I've said already, you guys are nominated for an Oscar. I want to know what ran through your mind when you saw that.
I found out over Instagram when they posted it, and I saw my the girl that plays Riley Kensington and some of her other besties. They posted it, and I was like, "Girl, are we? Are we? Oh my God, stop! Shut up, Mom!" Oh, I was like
freaked out.
Yes, I felt the same way. I think it was with the Emmys. I think we had 2 nominations there. It was just I think I expected it because I was like, this movie's incredible. Like
100%.
Everybody, like there's so many people a part of this crew, like just sound, editing, screenwriting, everybody. There's so many people deserve.
Everybody deserves an award.
An Oscar or an Emmy, or there's so many people and they're so worthy of an award. And I think just the effect of this movie, I was like, this is something so award worthy. But I think to kind of be like, hey, Oscar nominated or hopefully Oscar winning is going to be some way, shape, or form in your IMDb is crazy.
Oh my gosh, you can add it up soon.
Yes, and it was. I think for me, it was like I wouldn't say I'm a very, I guess maybe spiritual person, but I do like to think that anything can be used as motivation, or as like, I feel like, you really are the designer of your life. So kind of seeing that, I was like, I'm going to take this as like the first half step to hopefully doing more and more of this, and maybe one day being nominated myself or something.
Yeah.
But
even if like you win or you don't win, like you're still nominated.
Absolutely.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's wild. Imagine saying that. Wow.
And I think it's not so much like the award itself or like, because there's so much within awards too that is kind of silly, goofy. But I think it's having such a consensus of people that tell you that something is award worthy, whatever award it is. That it's that context that I'm like, whoa, like yes, people really felt this one and enjoyed it and believe it's something worthy of something.
100%. It was very impactful, and like it just, again, it touches everybody's hearts, and I think that's why it was nominated, how you're saying, and I love that for you guys. 100%. Thank you. So I want to know what's coming up with Lilimar up this year. What can we expect from you? What can we see? Any new projects?
Yes, there is new projects coming out this year, which I'm very excited about. I'm very excited for what's coming out this year. I'm working on even newer projects. I'm very excited to see where this year goes. I've been waiting, I think, for 2025 for a while, actually.
Really? Oh my
yes.
gosh. Actually, since we just started the year, a month ago, but it's been like
a year.
Like a year.
Longest beginning month ever.
Like, what are some of your goals this year, I would say? Still in the beginning, yeah.
Yes, I think definitely a lot more animation projects. Okay. I genuinely have, I think, found my piece and my place in animation, and I love it so much. So I'm excited to see what projects come out of that and what I can do. Video games are very high on my list of like doing more of.
That's so interesting.
Because I love working. I love me a video game. I love working on them. And I love very decision-based games. So hopefully if I get another one of those, you will see me very excited. So that's definitely big up there. And hopefully, I don't know, like a season of something. Definitely an episodic would be really cool. Like, ideally travel somewhere for 8 months.
Oh.
I want to leave. I want to not be here. I want to have a friend call me and be like, hey, girl, you want to come out tonight? Oh, my God, I wish I can, but I'm in Budapest. Like, that's
Manifest it.
Yes.
Manifesting works.
Yes.
It works. But, okay, so we have goals.
Yeah.
We have aspirations.
Yeah.
Do you have any tips now for aspiring actors?
I don't think there's a ideal time to be... or to dedicate yourself to acting. It's something that quite literally you could have a career and then also still do acting
100%.
For the rest of your life. You can balance it, I think, with a lot of things. So I think there's always space for acting. Don't ever feel like you don't have the right physical fit, or you don't have the right face, or you don't have the right accent, or you don't have the right age. Acting in and of itself is for projects and art that is supposed to represent and show the entirety of humanity. You are humanity. You are a part of that at every stage. So there's always roles for you. I think more so it's just focusing on going to classes, putting yourself out there, and let yourself be uncomfortable. Because I think I think I've learned that from now, leaning into coaching and teaching as well. There's so many people that do it where like, this is something fun. This is something that I like to earn money from, which is completely respectable. But I'm like, baby, at least for the first 2 years, you're going to be broke. Like, you're not going to get nothing. If you get something, perfect. You're starting off great. But it's not, it's not something that I'm like, just do it for the money, just do it for whatever. Like, or that you can just kind of half-ass your way through. Or like, I'm just going to pretend to be this and do this and whatever. Or I'm going to look good on camera. Like, I really invite people, even if you don't do it as a full-time job or do it for the rest of your life.
Right.
I hope the most you can get out of the experience is the deep psychological experience or the healing experience of acting or art in general, which is to make yourself uncomfortable and question things and question, why am I not able to do this like grand evil laugh? Why am I scared to show fear on camera? Why am I scared to look bad on camera? Because that's where we start asking questions, and that's why it gets uncomfortable. So I think what I love the most about acting is kind of the psychological part, the reworking of your brain, and kind of like
just let it out. Like,
because sometimes to really have like a full on, that was a great scene, that was a whole experience, oh my god, I blacked out, I don't even know what I did in that scene. Like a lot of people talk about wanting to have that experience, and it's like you have to bring in real emotions for that,
right?
Like even if you think of like, well, my character lost their fiance, I've never had a loss like that. Yes, but you've had a heartbreak of some other kind,
right?
And it's bringing that back and using it. Or it's like, I'm kind of nervous, but how can I focus on this person being nervous about their first date if I'm nervous about the scene? No, you're not nervous about the scene. You're nervous about this first date. It's like manipulating real emotion.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
And reframing it. So that's not something that, too many people talk about, because I'm like, I'm going to bore you with the details. But, it's like inviting that is so hard for people.
Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, I guess it's like in the sense that like you have to break out of your shell to do it.
Yeah, I don't think we realize how much we edit ourselves until I have you in front of a camera. Because like for some kids, I'm like, especially like teenagers or kids, I'm like, I will cut the scene halfway, and I'm like, babe, you've been mewing for 2 minutes. Like I'm so sorry, I needed to stop. And it's not so much as like, and I don't clown anybody for that, because it's just like, we want to look good because we've been taught to, like we a lot of us think that looking good is what gets us acceptance and love, and so kind of letting go of that, especially in front of a camera, 100%. It's really vulnerable. So because you genuinely and figuratively and literally have a spotlight on you, so sometimes it's like you can't break out of your shell to cry. Because then you have to cry in a certain way, or you have to express yourself in a certain way. Anger has to be controlled in a certain way. You can't be too loud. You can't be too vulnerable. You can't look too weak. You can't look too quirky. You can't, that's not that funny because that's really awkward. How do I make her less awkward? It's not about making your character less anything. They have to be what they are, because these people exist.
100%.
And that's where the non-judgment comes from.
Okay. Dang, that's like a lot to like for aspiring actors to take in, because again, like I know when you go to like those acting like workshops or classes,
you don't
like
expect
they put you in
run
like
into a mediocre psychiatrist.
And I think that's why it's really good that in those acting workshops and classes that they make you do like the little icebreakers, where it's like just yell, like let it out.
Especially improv or like zip, zap, zap, or whatever. Like yes, and like it's all goofy. It's silly as hell, but it's like sometimes getting people to just be silly is already a thing. Like
100%.
there are times where people, it's so, and it sucks, but it's so hard for me in the beginning to like get certain students out of their shell, because you can tell they're used to not emoting at all. Like just, you know what I mean? Like being stone-faced and cool all the time, or to not show too much emotion at something, too much excitement at something. And I found that getting them to laugh or like cackle or like scream or something is particularly hard, because you can't be that loud.
Right.
You can't, call the attention, no puede ser el centro de mesa,
Right.
Because you have to be like, you have to mesh in some way. And I'm like, well, I can't use that.
Uh-huh.
You know?
Dang. So if you're interested my girl Lily over here does classes.
Yes. Stop by.
When can they find these classes? What days do you do them, or where online?
Yes. A lot of the info is definitely posted on my Instagram for the most part, which is I am Lilimar. All of my socials are I am Lilimar. They are dwindling. I am sorry, I'm not a social media person. I admit that, but it's mainly with KimHoustonActing.com. So I think that's where you find everything I do. Random workshops with her in person every now and then. And I do a voiceover club thing, which you'd see me on Zoom last Monday of every month. And we go over like auditions and audios and work together, and it's a fun time.
Oh, gee, we should totally join. We're going to join and hop on and be like, hey!
Hey. Yes, it's a fun time.
Really?
It really is. And people of all ages come. And like, I even had an actor the other day. I was like, oh my God, you are out and about. I saw the skyline right behind him. And I was like, and at some point he was in the car. And then I was like, where are you? I like, thanks for showing up. You look like you're so busy. He's like, I love this though. I wanted to be here. And I was like, oh, that made my day.
As long as the spirit is there, wherever you are, if the spirit is there, if you have the passion.
That made my day, especially because I'm such a nerd about like education and the importance of it and the importance of it. So I think to have people just be like, oh, I was so excited to go. No, like I love this. It's almost like a hobby of mine or something I do with joy.
So before we go, I want to know if you have anything to just say, to let out, whatever it is. It can be anything you want.
No, I think I've said a lot of things important to myself too within the case of education and empathy. I think no matter what, no matter where we proceed, whatever you agree with the next few years of our adulthood or childhood, depending on your age, I think focusing on education, on stepping out of our boxes, on getting new hobbies, even if it's just it's still like first day of February right now when we're shooting, is like. I don't want to be like, oh my God, have a New Year's resolution, but like, dedicate the time to be like, I'm going to do a ton of stupid, like otherworldly, like never heard before hobbies this year. I'm going to, venture out to, you like to go to clubs instead of like Wynwood, I don't know, go to Miami Beach, I don't know, go somewhere else. I think just I want to invite people to try new experiences in new places, even if it's just 30 minutes away, 30 more than you usually do. Talk to new people, listen, and because I think one of the most amazing things I've gotten to experience in my life is being around so many people unlike me and in many different ways, and just getting that human experience. I think kind of it really te da una perspectiva del mundo like untouchable, really, and I think that's what has brought me and my family the most peace, I think, and hope for the world in the future.
I love that, and I thank you again for being here today. It was an honor to have you.
It was an honor to be here in your home.
Again, thank you so much. I wish you the best in your career.
I wish you the best.
We had such a good time. It was like it was a much needed combo.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
It's always good to have like little girl talks,
Yes. I love it. I hope people like it, while you're doing your laundry, your dishes, your cooking, or whatever it is.
Car driving, you can listen to us. Yeah. And you're always welcome back.
Thank you. La puerta está abierta. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. And I guess we'll head out now. And happy February.
Yes. I hope it's better than January.
Oh, 100%.
It's short and sweet.
Yes.
Everything's decorated with hearts.
Oh my God, yes. You guys can't see it, but it's all decorated about
I hope y'all bring better energy. Bring the energy!
Period. We'll see you guys. Bye.